Next, I wanted to go into like the concept of sound design or music. These are really important. Sound design especially is important to give the player feedback. Like, when I pick up an item, if it made a sound effect, that would be great. And you could set that up in Dialogue System, I think through sequencer commands. So you can see here, there's a couple audio options here. Let's just take a look at this one that says audio. Let's go with this idea that I want my item to make a sound effect when I pick it up. So first I should probably find the sound effect here. One site I really like, you can find this on the game design resources page that we linked to previously. But if we go down here into the sound effects section, there's something called freesound.org. You need to have a account for it, but there's a lot of royalty-free assets here you can use. So I'm just going to go into the search and type in bag rustle. There's really a wide variety of things that people have added to this. And I'm going to just play through and find something that sounds like almost if you played World of Warcraft, when you open your bag or pick up an object, it makes it sound like there's like a bag sound effect that it implies you're putting it in your backpack or something like that. So what I did is I gave up on my bag rustle search because it was a little too intense, and I searched a backpack, and then I changed the duration to short first because these sounds, for something like this, it needs to be quick. I was getting all these 20-second recordings of people searching through their backpack, and then lo and behold, I found some of these that are literally made for video games. So stuff like this would work really well. And you just want to make sure when you use these things that you properly credit people. So keep track of where you found it and link to it in some sort of credits wherever you might publish your work, whether it's GitHub or whether it's itch.io, etc. So I'm going to download this thing, and I will see if we can figure out how to put it in our Unity project. So I will find my Unity project. I'll go to the project window, and this is going to be a new category of asset that I don't have yet. So I'm going to make a new folder inside of my root assets directory. I'm going to call it audio. And I guess I could subdivide this into sound effects and music. But it occurred to me before I get carried away with this, that's what I would normally do, but it occurred to me when I was reading the documentation, the way that Dialogue System works is we have to put this into the resources folder. So what we will do is go back to Unity. Resources is a special folder that is used to dynamically load content without setting it up the normal way. So I guess just understand that when you make a resources folder in Unity, it's kind of special. So rather than putting it in that audio thing, I'm going to put it in resources. And so here's my sound. It's kind of really got a crazy name. Let's just call it backpack open. And I will drag this in here. And now you can test it. You can make sure it plays if you hit play. And then it occurs to me also that I'm not recording my desktop audio, so you have to use your imagination. You can see there's a sound wave, so it's a real sound. And I need to go back to this Dialogue System documentation, and I need to figure out when I'm going to play this sequencer command. So if I go onto my key item here, what I'm going to do is, maybe I'll do it on my zombie because that's better looking. So on Derek, he has a usable and a Dialogue System trigger. And when you click on it, I'm doing the stuff that has to do with collecting the item from searching his body. And so I'm going to add some extra stuff. I think what I can do is add play sequence here. So now I can type in sequencer commands, And this one is just going to be called audio, and then the first argument is the clip name. So we'll say audio, and then it's called backpack open. And actually, let's see what the other arguments are for this. We have subject, doesn't matter, one shot. So this is about whether or not it'll interrupt the current audio clip playing. Probably it should. And that's basically that. I don't think the rest of this matters. You can see some details, like if you put this on something that has an audio source component, it'll use that. Otherwise, it's just going to use an audio. It's going to create an audio source component on your dialogue manager and add one if necessary. So that sounds like it's just going to automatically take care of it for me. So you know what? I'm just going to like not use any parameters. Let's just do the easiest setup possible here and kind of test it out. All right, so I'm running my game, and I actually made a new recording here that has system audio turned on. So in theory, you might be able to hear the little backpack sound when I click this. Hopefully that worked. I don't know, but I could hear it. So if it's a pretty quiet sound, you might need to crank your volume. Who knows? But anyway, try it out with your own sound and see if it works for you. So that's a cool way to get feedback. You can play sound effects like in conversations using that sequencer command. You can get a lot of fancy setup, including even like voiceover and voice acting if you really wanted. Just check the dialogue system documentation if you want to see some more info on all that. The last thing I wanted to go over is music, which is really easy and I feel like it adds a lot. So what I am gonna do is, I guess again, you can consult the resource I mentioned about finding free assets. So I'm just gonna hit back a bunch till I get to it here. And there's a lot of choices here. I've never really looked at this one before, so I was looking at that today, and there's a bunch of funny royalty-free music here you can use. I downloaded one of them, and so I'm gonna go back. This time I can actually do what I was gonna do before, so I'll go in here. Maybe instead of audio, I'll just call this music because that's all that's gonna be in it. So I've got my music folder, and it's assets, music, find my downloads. I've got this song I downloaded from YouTube, and maybe I can make it shorter file name, but I don't need to call this one in my sequencer script, so it's less of a big deal. Although I guess you could probably change music in the sequencer if you ever wanted to do something like that, where whatever sequence you're depicting needs the music to change, or you want like a stinger or something like that. But anyway, you want your music to either be an MP3 or a .ogg file, and what I'm going to do is just make an empty game object, and I'm going to call it music. And I'm going to add an audio source component to this. There we go. And you just plug in the clip that you want the audio source to play. You can adjust the volume and stuff. Like a super common problem is that students' games will have like really loud music and I can't hear anything else. Not that we have a ton of other sound effects in this game, but I already mentioned the bag sound was quiet, so it might make sense to kind of duck my music volume a little. And I want to make sure it loops. And you want to leave play on awake on, and so that's all it takes. That means as soon as this scene starts, this clip is going to play, and it'll just keep looping forever. So again, we'll see if that works, if you can hear things. Not sure if it's actually recording the volume for you or not, but I promise this solution will work for you.